Hello, good day, people. Rick Sarah again. I was on last night in the middle of the evening and had a good time with fans who signed in. And then Rick, unfortunately, let his phone battery get so low that it froze. Hi, Tina. Hi, Megan. Welcome. Fairy, what's your name? Hi, darling. Sammy, uh, Linus rather, Megan, Yabo, BKM, Lisa, Bob, Skizzery Skiz. I am good. I went to bed at 4 a.m. last night. I got up at 11 a.m. It's now a little after noon. I'm sorry if I dragged you away from Governor Cuomo's daily briefing of telling us the same thing every day. And I thought I would be an alternative to the live programming available at this time. So yes, yesterday evening I tried to do a live broadcast and then I let my phone totally die. The day before I did another live broadcast from the swimming pool, the neighbors next door. Cobalt, thank you very much. Hello, Canada. Cheers, Canada. As I enjoy coffee, here I am near Tampa, Florida, as some very significant rainfall and thunderstorms are coming through the area and all the way up into the north corner of Florida. It's actually fun. Here's a band and their t-shirt. The name of the band being Marbin. Marbin is sort of an alternative form of a jazz band, all instrumental. The musicians originally from Israel, and then they have had different people playing bass guitar and drums with them. The weather in Florida right now, like I just said, it's thunderstorms here. We've been very dry. We're starting to get a little bit of rain. We're almost ready to enter into what they call Marvin's a friend of yours, Earl of Baltimore. Well, it's the name of a band. I don't know if there's a guy named Marvin. I guess you know one. I know Marvin. I didn't never heard of the name Marvin, but you went to rehab in Tampa? Oh, what a fond memory that must have been. Tremendous. So I'm going to be purchasing an extra piece of equipment, a dongle type of device that allows for you to charge, and at the same time I can plug in this little headset with a little microphone so I can stop running out of battery power. Now if I can just stay within the Wi-Fi zone, I won't lose my broadcast. Hi Nirvana, how are you doing? I'm good. You have a tripod that has a charger built in. Well, this does sound interesting. PSA Mermaid, thank you so much. I'm happy to bring you the content. In terms of another Dirty Room Dan Bell Productions sphere of media, Dan has been working on and hoping to complete, and then he has an advertisement to add to the offering, and he has to get approval for them. And it'll be another Dirty Room from New Orleans, first of 2 episodes. And I see I got my notification for myself finally, only about 5 minutes after I started. Let me go back. I saw the comment about, oh yes, I have not had any skunk ape creatures around me today, thank God. People who do listen to our podcast on Patreon, the Rick's Erotica last night was featuring myself. So I was reading about myself, so that was nice. I didn't have to make up a cheesy accent or a fake female or whatever. How did I spend 420 like to all of you at home with some mediocre crap because I have no access to anybody with good stuff. Coughing for not the best reaction. Oh well. When I get back to Baltimore, I can get a hold of some nice dispensary weed. And see, I'm in a dilemma. Of course, I have pre-existing conditions that would qualify me for a medical marijuana card anywhere that are allowed. But if I bought it in Maryland, I just have to be a citizen. I'm no longer a Maryland citizen, I'm a Florida citizen. So I can't get a medical marijuana card in Maryland. And Maryland does not recognize Florida. There's no reciprocity there. But Washington, D.C. does. So I could have the card from Florida and get to a dispensary down in Washington, which is, you know, like basically it's an hour one-way drive just to pick up some frickin' weed. I mean, I'm sorry, folks, I'm not that addicted. It'd take a lot to get me to go to Washington anyway. It's not my favorite city. Yeah, it does. It depends on what state you're in, of course. So many places you don't even have that option. And of course, nationally, it's still illegal for some stupid reason. I think that even the current administration is thinking of the idea of legalizing it for the purpose of being able to obtain revenues to help with everything that is going on now. Hello, Daddy's home again. But the thing with Florida here is, instead of it being at least a 12-month period for getting a card, it's 7 months. And the cost is over $300 when you add up all the charges. $300 for the privilege of getting medical marijuana. With $300, I could buy 1.5 ounces of it on the street. Hello, Crystal, from New Bedford, Massachusetts, and Laura, I live in Los Angeles, and Oregon's the place to go, huh? Well, maybe I should visit Oregon. I'm not visiting anywhere like no one else. We're all staying home with our families, hoping to shelter and avoid exposure. I call it the plague. It's one thing I have in common with our supreme leader. I use the word to try to emphasize it is a bad thing and it's nothing to toy with. And I really don't want to die from it. I have a desire to live for at least a couple more decades. I've been working to try to live a healthier lifestyle, eating a lot less junk, drinking a lot of water. Could exercise more though. And I guess if I didn't inhale any smoke, I'd be better off too. I just don't enjoy oral consumption of that stuff too much, although butter isn't too bad. Crystal, I wish so, but we all have our time. But my hope is that we'll all be connected together in some kind of large body of collective energy of life forces back to the creation of them. Of course, we're humans, so we have to name everything and have a description. And we do have those who also believe that that's a bunch of hogwash, so who knows, maybe I'm wrong. But I felt things in my life that have told me that God is real, and I've been touched too many times to ignore this in my life personally. Otherwise, it's just really positive randomness instead of just randomness. Yeah, well, I try to be happy. Yep. So last night when I did broadcast and I shared some funny stuff, made up a couple stories on the fly, talked about the skunk ape raping me and a little old lady here at my retirement community. We had good fun, but then we had some serious chats. And I stayed to exactly what I keep saying to everybody. I am not going to tell you what to think. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I am going to ask you to do your best to research, find out for yourself the candidate that you think is deemed worthy of your vote, and then you choose on election day. I hope that we have no problem voting. We need the freedom to vote. We need the freedom to have the right to bear arms. We need the freedom to vote. We need the freedom to assemble. Of course, that's assumed to be peaceable assembly, not riot. And I also hope that's fine. Trump 2020, Biden 2020. Like I said, I made my decision, but I'm not throwing it on you. What was this? I don't know how views could be tallied and then removed. I don't know. I know one thing, if you don't save your live broadcast, you're doomed to lose it. And you'll have to delete the upload. Otherwise, you'll see the hourglass spinning in the middle of a black screen view. And yeah, I do a little tagging. Guess I should do more of that. I do it sometimes. And last night, by the way, people were saying Sarah Bell in 2020. Maybe you should think about that. Let's distinguish the Dan Bell live and the Rick Sarah live. How many times do I cuss? I go to live broadcast, honey. Here's my lovely wife.
Not so lovely. No makeup, no hair done, no nothing.
Who cares? Oh, thank you, but that means I'd get at least one vote, right? There's really only two choices, unfortunately, for your vote to really count, unless we have a couple 100 million people write in for the same person. Oh, Dan versus Rick in 2020. Well, we have to get registered in 50 states, and we should have done that a year ago, so. I don't think either of us ever want that kind of position. That's just a lot of stress and pressure. So, in spite of how you might feel about our current president, think about this man. He does live in constant stress and anguish. He knows that anything he says, many people will disagree with him. Many, and then he has those who will agree with him. And he's always dealing with that. So every president has a real hard job. And it must really age you. Of course, if your hair's already gray, it's hard to see. But if your hair was darker when you're going out, it's gray. Look at President Bush, look at President Obama. They went in with dark colored hair, they came out with gray hair. And a lot more wrinkles in their face. So that's what 8 years does to you. Imagine. I don't need that acceleration of my date of death. Believe me.
Well, if you were president, I'd wind up killing you.
And if I was president, my first lady would end up killing me in my sleep. Cover my face with a pillow or something.
Inject you with disinfectant.
Inject me with disinfectant. And open my mouth and put a UV light down my throat. Right down my trachea, right into my lungs. And that's because, that's a proposed treatment. Did you hear that?
It's not a
proposed treatment.
It was a suggestion.
Came from the top. So it must be valid. That's a good idea. Eat antibacterial soap. Now, so I was watching this gentleman. It was on somebody's post on Facebook. And they were eating soap as if they were eating food. I had to keep looking at the bars to see whether or not they were candy, like the spoof we put on everybody in our first season of Another Dirty Room, where I had a white chocolate shaped as a soap, and then I was presented it, and I started chewing on it. That was a great gag. And I don't remember the lady who sent that to us, but again, thank you. It was such a great prop. You remember that, Megan? Yeah, that was a great one. Yeah, that was the honeymoon suite with the heart-shaped tub where I pulled all the goo out of the drain. Oh, God. The bird nest above the mirrored ceiling. Oh, what a lovely place. So where was I going to go? I had a thought, but then I lost it. Well, that's the way it goes. I'm gerontological. If we don't act on these thoughts, they go away real quickly. I'll be 61 in October. The wrinkles are increasing. The crow's feet are growing.
The belly's going down.
The belly's going down. That's the best thing. Unfortunately, my abdominal hernia is more present instead of being hidden by a large bulbous blanket of fat. Romeo, I know. And Romeo was with us this morning. So, Romeo, I hope you got enough sleep. And see, here I am back after I lost the feed last night. I feel so stupid. I'm there in the middle of a sentence, and all of a sudden my phone goes black. And I know exactly what that meant. The worm appeared last night. My tapeworm did make an appearance and talk to you all last night, but as it wasn't recorded, only the 70 or so people live at 1:30 to almost 4 in the morning. I mean, you guys are great. If I can have that many people in the middle of the night pop on that want to see my puss and hear me speak, I guess I'm doing something right. And you guys just, it's a tremendous honor that you compliment me by just coming on here and watching me. Well, that's a possibility. Somebody said, am I going to maybe have a cocktail hour again? That's possible. I'm promising I'm doing this more often. I've been holding back and not doing very much of these, but why am I holding back? People like me to do it. So I'm going to hop on. I just hope I can say some different things instead of repeating the same thing over and over again. Thank you, David. Rock on to you too, buddy. Well, I assume that anybody on here now is either at lunch break or unfortunately you're not working because your employer is shut down and you were laid off. And I'm sorry. I wish you could find something else. There was a tip, it was kind of a sarcastically delivered tip from Governor Cuomo in reference to someone talking about unemployment support and things like that, and they want to work and they can't work. He said, look for a job as an essential worker. Apply for a job and get into a job that is considered an essential job. I mean, I don't know what that might be.
Grocery store, pharmacy.
If you work in a grocery store, if you work in a pharmacy, maybe the grocery store is more of a potential. Maybe if you're good at cleaning, but you've never done it as a job, companies that are doing decontamination, because they have no choice, they have to do something to help prevent the spread. You could work with them. Need some training. Need to learn how to protect yourself a little better. But then, there's another chance for you. Probably not the same compensation you were used to. It's better than zilch. When the times get tough, the tough get going. Old phrase. In this position, it looks like I have a giant goiter. My chicken neck. Let me set up a little more. These seats are comfortable. Yes, my mother bought the chairs and it came with cushions. They really weren't that great, so my wife and I then bought better cushions. Aren't they so pretty? Oh, yes, they are. Nice pattern. Got a little teal and other colors. Goes nicely with the gray wicker covered metal frame chairs here. And as we're underneath of little carport, built-in covered patio. And our little mobile home, a double wide, I think it dates back to the 80s. It has a registration inside. The Chateau brand. I was up on the roof a few weeks ago.
Is that a 7 plus?
It is a 7 plus. I'm looking for one that is actually the one that's a dongle hole and the other one's a round 1/8-inch hole.
What's wrong with this?
This because, well, I guess that's good.
One's for charger, one's for audio.
That's actually good. Where'd you find that?
Amazon, like I told you to look.
Only that price? All right, look, put that in the cart and let me look at other options. Chateau Tin Can, thank you very much. Dan Bell has joined everybody. Thank you, Dan. It's so nice of you to pop in. There's our famous, my personal leader, my mentor, although 20 years younger than me. He's so wise for his time. He helps me as much as I try to help him. Yes. So Dan, before you hopped on, I did a live broadcast in the middle of the night while you were working feverishly on your video editing. And I went all the way to no battery, totally discharged, and I lost the whole feed. And I couldn't save it. I'm so smart. So Dolline's looking for extra dongles so I can have chargeability as well as plug in for doing these. He just wanted to know why people were sticking around to listen to me talking about my cushions, because we talk about all kinds of senseless things here, Dan. The only difference is I don't cuss as much, and I don't yell at the sky as much as you do. Arsel is back. Yay! How you doing, Arsel? We have Stephanie.
Oh, Arsel, I said hi.
Arsel, my wife says hi. DJ Southpaw, Bill, Lisa, and Cozy, and Jim's Universe. It's BBP, I mean. Kara, Kim, Dylan. And I don't know if you heard that in the background. There's a little thunder rolling. Ah, it's so nice. I do love a nice thunderstorm. When I grew up in Baltimore, that was a favorite pastime. My mother, myself, we'd be sitting on the front porch when there was a thunderstorm. We had a covered front porch. We'd sit on the porch furniture and just enjoy a storm until the wind blew the rain on us and started to get us wet. Then we hightailed it inside. Oh my gosh, look, it's so busy here. We have a car going by. So this, right here, this is the view of the infamous little old lady on the three-wheeled bike who drove by the other day while we were doing a podcast, and I mentioned it. And then, what do you know? It becomes fodder for a new Rick's erotica. And the story of the rape by the skunk ape. Oh, that was great. It was a 4 out of 5 for both Dan and I. Very good. And we're glad that we can do these. We know that we're getting nothing but really good feedback on our doing the podcasts at such a short frequency between each episode, and other content that being added by Dan for Patreon subscribers, looking backwards in a time capsule of things we did when we first started to do videos together. Good old days. I really never thought the data would see the light of day in any kind of a large distribution, to even at least to the podcast subscribers. That's a little over 1,000 people, or maybe more than that now. So, I mean, it's more than I ever would have thought we would have in a theater to watch Love, Liquor, Lies. If we ever did a screening, we'd probably have 30 people in there, and they would have been all our friends. And nobody else. Niall! It's a great community, Dan. Yes, it is. Another odd place. Well, Ricky is doing this instead of endless hours of listening to audio. Got to get on the stick. In the meantime, I turned you on to the friend who helped me find that place, the Explorers on YouTube. He just loves to do that, and he loves the diversion as well, especially right now with the recent passing of his mother. And he actually is quite good. He uses a lot more simple software than is available. Hi, Steve. But he does a really good job with it. And I'm sure that we're going to see a lot of new things coming out on his channel that are fun to watch. So keep them in mind. They're just getting started. I think he's only around 150 or 60 subscribers. The Explorers, EXPLORRIORS. If you go to the Rick Serra channel on YouTube, not now, you will find that I shared an introduction that I had him create so that you could be aware of his channel and maybe try him out. And for those who already have, thank you very much for giving him a chance. Fort Delaware. Never been. But it's a haunted place. I have to... What do you think, Dan? Haunted place, Fort Delaware? Maybe. Try to escape Baltimore for a couple hours and blow the dust off our butts. But it's easier for me to hold in the vertical. Whatever, I know. But this isn't a cinematography here, it's just a broadcast. All right, well, watch this, folks. I go like this. Orientation is locked. Rotate device back. I started this way, I got to end this way. The odd thing is when I do orientation horizontally and then it takes a step to go to please, you know, a thumbnail photograph is ready to be taken. Get ready, 1, 2, 3. So it takes a picture of you like that. And then you broadcast and the picture is sideways. Oh, lightning. I just saw a flash of lightning.
Stop up.
Here comes the crash, folks. 12,000 feet away. Ooh. Ah, that's why I did this then, or at this time. I thought it'd be so cool to have thunder in the background. So exciting. Paul, thank you so much. Stay safe. I wish we had huge thunderstorms here in the UK. Do you ever have thunderstorms? Certainly you do, don't you? I know you are notoriously accused of being a cloudy, rainy place, at least sometimes in the year. Yeah, and of course I've seen many other times where it's a beautiful blue sky around. Tree in your back garden last year got hit. Says it's BBP. Yes, well, scary. Follow Rick on Facebook, Twitter. Oh, DJ Southpaw, thank you so much. DJ was chosen as a moderator some time ago, and he just shared my links. Thank you so much for doing that, buddy. You're great. I got to put you on the payroll. I'll pay you the same as my wife.
Zip.
Hun, how much do I pay you?
Zip.
But I hug and kiss her. I try to give her love for compensation. So come on over here, DJ Southpaw, and I'll kiss you. Wow, maybe I should do that, and I'll have a fundraiser and contribute it to a food bank. Kiss Rick. $5. And when we're clear of all this mess and we're safer to be able to interact together, I'll kiss people. Closed mouth only. I can't control you if you try to slip something in there, but I will have my mouth closed. I'm sorry. My wife will be there with a bat for anybody that tries to slip me the tongue. She'll demonstrate and show you how to kiss me. It'll be like your Aunt Mary when she kisses you. It might be a little wet, but the mouth is closed. Or don't kiss Rick and give me $10 toward the food bank. Yes, I'll probably get a lot more. Oh my God, Dan, you are so nice. Dan Bell just contributed $20. Oh, Dan, thank you. I'm going to be able to live this month now. I might actually get the minimum $100 before the end of April and get paid. Yay. If nobody got the sense of this, I'm not here for the money. And I'm really not trying to beg for super chat contributions here. This is a time when I'm here for you. I'm not here for you to help me. But thank you very much, Dan. You're so kind. So last night when I was doing some stream of consciousness, I took off a little bit from something I was discussing. I saw what I think might have been a UFO a couple weeks ago. And it was, I thought, a flock of birds, and as I watched it further, I could see that the image actually had an outline, and it was triangular. And it just moved slowly across the sky at a fairly high altitude and drifted off to the northwest from me. I looked at it coming from the south, going south to north, and then turning northwest. So as I was speaking, I went off into this tangent, and it sort of went like this. As I was standing, leaning against my mother's car, and someone said, "The men in black may come and get you. You better watch it," talking about this. And I said, "Yes, you're right. I worry about that." And then I go, and I lean back, and I act like I'm somehow in a trance. I was teleported onto this craft, and I find myself sitting on the metal floor of this. I don't know where I was at first, but then I was there with this nice little Korean guy, and there was a little wooden table and two bowls of pho. Thank you, Stephen Caligari. Just finished the latest podcast. Hilarious as always. Thank you, Stephen. So there we are. We have two bowls of pho. It had a nice broth, some scallions. It was a little bit tepid. I like my soup a little hotter. And the gentleman and I are enjoying our pho, sitting there, totally unaware of why the heck we're here. I find out he speaks English clearly, and he tells me he's Kim Jong-un. I go, "Oh, really? So how did you get here?" He goes, "I don't know. How'd you get here?" I was in the middle of doing a live broadcast for my fans of YouTube. And next thing you know, I'm on this craft. And then he goes, "Well, look, I got this bottle of Japanese sake." I go, "Oh, really? Oh, good. At least we can have some of that." So he pours me some in the little cups that they are usually traditionally known to be served in. And I'm sitting there in lotus position on the floor on one side of the little table. He's on the other. And we're sipping our sake. I'm starting to feel very nice and calm inside. Not as anxiety ridden as I was when I first arrived. And we're talking about the situation a little more. Then these creatures come in. They're very strange. They're short. They're very pale, grayish looking. They got these triangular shaped, kind of rounded corner heads with two big black eyes and a little slit type of a mouth, no nose. And they come into the room. Several around me and several around Kim. And they basically use their little appendages, and they seem to be able to teleport or levitate us off of the floor. And they take us into an adjoining room from this space to another space. I'm placed on one table and Kim on another. And I'm sitting there, and this one creature is at the end of the table looking at my face, looking into my eyes. And I guess I mentally told him, "I'd like some more of that sake, if you don't mind." So he comes in with a glass full of the sake, and he holds it up to me and lets me take a sip. I lift my head up, take another sip. And then I say to him, "Look, can I please have the whole thing? I need a nice gulp." Look, oh, that's so good. I laid back. I think I passed out. And I stopped there, but I think while I fell asleep, I was being probed anally. The reason I suspect that is when I woke up this morning and I was in my bed, there was a brown stain around the back of my underwear with some blood, some yellow pus, and some other stuff on it. Oh, God.
Would you stop that shit?
Would you stop that shit? I'm like, what the hell happened to me last night? I feel like I was at a swingers party. Oh, I am horrid. I know. Just imagine what happened to Kim. I can't even tell you that. Oh my God, it was sad. Instead of lying him on a table, they hooked his legs up to these couplers and hung him, suspending him from the ceiling, his head down. And then they put devices into every one of his orifices.
Stop.
And then they slowly swung him around and around like like a tether ball on a pole. I don't know what the purpose was. Maybe they were trying to slowly extract some of his vital fluids in this manner. But that is when I fell asleep and passed out after that shot of sake, and I don't know what else they did to him from there. The end. I hope you've enjoyed this revolting UFO story from the mind of Rick Serra. The abyss of piss. Sounds like a Friday night after the club, says Link. Thank you. Sounds like your bed needed disinfecting. Oh, yes. We already sprayed a bunch of 409 on the bed, and the sheets are in the wash machine right now with a whole cup of bleach. When they come out, I'm going to use a UV light stick to catch anything that was missed. Live long and prosper. Any sci-fi fans out there? I haven't been watching the CBS Access channel and the couple of Star Trek stories that have come out in the last couple of years. And any special information you'd like to share? What did they come up with? I heard a couple of people think that the Picard show is a little boring and not too much sci-fi. Oh, Carly thinks the new Picard series is very good. Hello, Third Martian. Storm Chaser 300. Jack Sleepo Ron. And Steve Seaboat I already saw. E. Woodring. Looking for people I haven't called out yet. Bobby Abernathy. Leslie Beckwith. Earl of Baltimore. A favorite friend who comes on my and Dan's broadcasts. Of course, Link Sommerfelt. Stephanie Wayland. Jackie Heffline. Kim Twister. Thank you all very much for joining. And all those who I didn't mention, I'm so sorry. Hopefully I'll do it again next time I go through. I'm going to stop in about 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to stop this at 60 minutes. We're at 43 minutes. And then I'm going to save it, and this will actually be on my channel for those who missed it live. Unlike the last two times that I had to delete the upload because I ended up with just a black screen with the nice circle of death spiraling endlessly. You can ask Arcel. I tried to bring it back, didn't I, Arcel? And the other day I did. Once you let it die like that, there's no coming back, there's no saving it.
Hopefully you remember that.
And that's why my wife Dolline is researching buying me a special dongle. Otherwise, I just have to use some common sense and stop at an hour, start when the phone's fully charged. And when you see 20%, get the heck off. Things you'd think I should already know. One thing about Rick Serra, takes him 100 times to learn something. When I learned it, I got it down pat. But man, my learning curve is steep. I have to get to the stratosphere from the ground before the curve finally hits where I can use the knowledge that is there for me to store into my old plaque coated brain cells. Yeah, I say words like plaque, etc. Yes, I'm an environmental scientist. I was never a research scientist. Basically, my background is biological sciences, uh, and then that includes also earth sciences, agronomy, geology, oceanography, meteorology. I've had career jobs in worker safety and health, pollution control, and then I did 25 years of applying all my previous knowledge to healthcare and trying to share that information to healthcare operators and their staff to benefit themselves and to keep things environmentally safe in their buildings. That included training and also sharing of resources from accepted sources. And I've always been a person who pushes the right information that I know is vetted and hopes that it promotes improvement in people and their ability to do things. Once we're educated, we can do so much more. Yeah, I'm not a mad scientist. I'm a good scientist. But like I said, if I had been able to do other things such as research, I'd have been able to go further academically, and it would have been required. I almost achieved a master's degree, but I didn't quite get all the credits I needed, and I never did a master's thesis. But short of like 2 classes and a master's thesis, I could have had a master's in public health. That was my goal at one time. The trouble is, everywhere I went, I would run into a block wall because the employer may not really wish the information to be shared, or they did not want to change their approaches to upgrade to the knowledge that was available. So I pushed it. When I first started in the healthcare business, there was a standard that was published, and it was the rule of thumb for food safety. As I went from healthcare center to healthcare center, nobody was using that information. They weren't even aware of it. So I developed a packet of information and started to copy and take it where I went and issue it to the facility where I was going and visiting for the purpose of recertification or complaint. And as I did that more and more, it helped to get people the knowledge, and they did a better job. And then I just did similar things through my career. The last 10 years, I also specialized in emergency preparedness and became one of the most well-known trainers in Maryland at the time. I was outstanding in my field, like a cow. So goodbye, Frank P. You have a great day too. Panda Express workers out there, love you all. That was a message from Jim's Universe. I have eaten at a Panda Express in the airport, and then they built one in a shopping center not far from my Baltimore home. But I have to admit, I haven't been to a Panda Express in a long time. Did not get rave reviews from the few people I heard about the Panda Express near me, but I do like all kinds of Asian style dishes. I love a lot of different things. I don't like to eat insects and turtles and certain things that are just not common food. I also don't like muskrat stew or possum pie or skunk fingers. Just not my style. I've had a little taste of alligator, a little taste of rattlesnake, supposedly. Roadkill, that's it. I went to Roadkill Cafe and they had a smorgasbord there. Frog legs, oh, it tastes like chicken. No, I've never had frog legs. I've had escargot, a little bit of that kind of thing. It's close to being the same as maybe a shrimp or mussels, clam. Mostly I eat chicken. Chicken, chicken, chicken. Buck, 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 buck. You're eating pancakes now, yes. I saw something that caught my eye. It was Asian style scallion pancakes with soy sauce. Look good. I've never had that, but that might be interesting. I've had, what is the Chinese dish that has something a little bit similar to that?
Egg foo young.
Well, egg foo young is a little bit like that, but there's some kind of a dish that's almost like little pancakes or with it, or little dough things. Oh well. Maybe it has a T on the end, Leslie, escargot, but it sounds like that exactly. That's the right enunciation. Tastes like rotten fish. The frog legs do, Romeo Lover. Oh, okay. Well, I can't say I eat a lot of rotten fish, but I know what it smells like. Every time I sit down in the bathroom to go poo-poo, I smell some.
Isn't your 15 minutes up yet?
Oh, 52 minutes. Counting down the last 7 minutes plus, folks. You've seen enough of my idiocy. At least for a little while. You need a break. Do your laundry, sweep the floor, walk around the outside of your house, go out and buy a poo-poo platter per Jim. Hey Jim, do you have a favorite restaurant to go to where you buy your poo-poo? Personally, we pick up our poo-poo and put it in the trash can in the backyard because my puppy's poo-poo is really not that appetizing. It's like the crazy brother you wish you had, or crazy uncle, or crazy grandfather. I definitely have had the reference to the movies about Dirty Grandpa and things like that. And I am a grandfather. And I'm very happy that I am. I got a lovely, beautiful granddaughter. Beautiful in the inside and the out. A lovely daughter, the same way. Very blessed. My wife, tremendous human, puts up with my crap all the time. But we turn 30 years of marriage on May 12th. 30 years. She deserves the Nobel Prize. And then my mother, going to turn 91 in December. Still sharp, still with it, still funny, very sociable. That's where I get mine, I think. That's why I'm an extrovert. It's my mother. My father was a little more quiet and reserved. Mom was all out there. People love her company. You're only 40, Jim? That's great. You're about Dan's age. I don't think Dan's still here anymore, but... See, Dan, I said you're only 40, aren't I? Nice. Jeff has an Uncle Rick, and he's a nut too. I think Richards all over are quite unique. And or they're crazy as a loon. So, Miss Faith Louise, I'm in a suburb of Tampa, Florida, or you could say Clearwater, Florida as well. Very close to the Gulf of Mexico. We're normally nothing more than a 10-minute ride to the beach. Of course, now you can't go to the beach, and it's been that way since late February. So we've been down here in Florida. We haven't been able to go to the beach for most of the time that I've been here. I went to the beach like 3 times, and then that was that.
Long Beach last day of
Yeah, and my mother, myself, and my wife, we went to the beach the one last day before they closed them. And the beach we went to was never super packed, and people kept a distance from them, not because of COVID-19, just they normally did, because you have a lot of space, because these folks like myself and my wife pick a beach that was not so crazy crowded. I never went down to St. Pete Beach or up to Clearwater Beach.
Yeah, we've seen them both. But we never went
Never went there. Too many people, and plus hard to find a parking spot and all that good stuff. Down here where I live, you have a parking lot, you pull up, you park. You pay $2 an hour to help pay for maintenance of the bathroom and the grounds, etc. $2 an hour. So if you're going to be there 4 or 5 hours, well, $10. No trouble finding a parking spot, and you're yards away from carrying your stuff to the beach instead of blocks away. And it's a very pretty beach too. Not the most beautiful in the world, but for my taste, very nice. Mostly very clean, very little litter. Very nice place. I wish I could go again before we leave, but unless I break the law, and I plan on it, I'm going to sneak on. I already did recon of where to go on, to at least go in and have a dip, and then walk back out without having a sheriff's deputy come up to me and handcuff me for going in the water. So, oh, somebody had to be timed out, DJ. Thank you. Come on. When Red Kite, when you come back, let's play nice. Let's be good with the other children. Let's not leave any nasty comments. I try to be nothing but kind to everybody and encourage the same from one to another that's inside of the chat. Please follow the rules. That's all I ask. You can have an opinion. Just don't be an asshole. Be kind, not mean. Or just don't come one, please. We don't need that here. We're all here to escape negativity, not to run into it. $6,000 and 1 Cadillac. Fans of Glengarry Glen Ross will get that reference. $6,000 and 1 Cadillac. So Kestrel has some raining, and wish you had a thunderstorm up there for the, I can't think of the word, aesthetics, that's it. Coffee. The magic elixir for your brain. All right, counting down the last minute. Any last words anybody would like to share? I want to say thank you again for joining me. I thank you to Dan Bell and those who contributed. Remember, there is no expectation for anybody to contribute to me at this time, but thank you if you can. I love you all. I wish you to be safe and free of any disease from this damn plague. Be kind to one another instead of the reverse that this world seems to try to get us all to participate in. Let's push it back one by one. We can make the world a better place by being more loving. take the chip off of the shoulder and put your heart on your sleeve. Goodbye. God bless. Talk to you soon.